Do they go aggressive on their map pool? Do they go quite passive on their map pool? How do they play it?
Now we got them. Theme Park is up first, picked up by TSM. Clubhouse picked up by BDS and our Decider, Oregon, to split the difference should we need it, which we've needed a few times in the tournament yesterday, but who knows? Maybe the upper bracket game is exactly what we need here for the group. Your thoughts, Tristan, on just seeing these maps overall?
TSM back on Theme Park, a map that they played yesterday. It was MIBR's pick, I believe, and they won it. So interesting there for them to go back to it. BDS, will they have had much time to review it? We're not sure. And
TSM have clearly put this map away for this event because I have it down statistically as their 9th preference map, right? Which is exactly why MIBR took them to it. They've now shown it, they've shown that they like it, and they've picked it against BDS. And what I will say, the Clubhouse pick from BDS, they're formidable on that map. They're on something like an 11-game winning streak on that particular map. And like I said, it's a map where they don't have to think, they just have to do. And that's why they have so good
struggle on Club, though, against outsiders. Early in the stage, that was a very
performance-wise, it's been a bit 50-50.
A real wobbly match for them. I think there will be gaps again. There's going to be gaps.
Well, friends, thank you very much. Our casters are ready, so let's bring up Whippet and Gibson and say hello and start off our day with them. Gentlemen, I hope you've recharged after a very explosive cast yesterday. Good luck with the game.
Thank you very much, Milosh. We've recharged, our batteries are at full capacity, and we're ready to crack straight into this one. BDS versus TSM. What a matchup this is. Two teams that, you know, when you look at this, not the best of forms inside their respective regions, but good showings all around so far. Yesterday, both teams battling for their ticket in the semi-finals. Tomorrow, Gibson, who do you think is going to be able to grab it?
Oh, honestly, I'm going to go for TSM on this one. They're the former world champions, and, you know, there's going to be a lot of one back and forward. And I'm not going to ask you who's going to whip it. Are you going to go Team Shaiko or Team Bolo?
It's a hard one to decide. It's between these two teams, it's really difficult to pick one in particular. Now, I'm going to say I want Europe to remain undefeated so far. It would be a nice notch in our belt once again. We have had a string in this region of poor luck, especially against North American sides. We only know how dominant they've been. As you said, TSM are the current S-side champions. Or form isn't exactly championship caliber as of right now, but they are a team that's trying to make a rise. And a storyline to look into this for TSM right now is that Snake is under the weather. He's not playing right now. Pojo's stepping in again. While you might on paper go, that's not ideal. Pojo, the coach, coming in. How many times have we seen Pojo stepping in this sub position and being able to make a large impact in what are often just not ideal positions? So TSM still have a very fair chance of taking the fight to BDS on these maps.
It's one of the benefits of having a coach who actually can play. We've seen it in the EUL, we've seen it in NAL in the past where they've stepped in, and more often than not, they put in a pretty good performance too, because they're not going in, they're not trying to take on the entry role. They're just there, they're going to do a job, they're going to make it difficult, and normally, you know, we like a bit of cost. They put up a good cost score 9 times out of 10.
They absolutely do. Now, one thing is obviously we have to build this as there are 2 star players on both of these teams. BDS have Shaiko, TSM have Bolo. We're going to see those Titans go head-to-head in terms of this one. If I'm correct, I believe Shaiko is currently the kill leader of this competition. So, can Bolo try and start that dethrone, or will Shaiko continue the rampage? TSM, a very good, well-rounded side, as well as having that firepower as we move into our ban stage now. BDS in the first one as we get ready to roll in the theme park. And I'm expecting these to be pretty standard bans, and TSM, a side that do like to go with that Finka ban, but BDS haven't took a ban.
Okay, now that puts TSM in a bit of a situation here, because we know they like a Finka ban, and they're going to go for a no ban. But we're going to try to find out what's happening. We've got 2 no bans to kick this one off.
Okay, so this is clearly unusual. No operators have been banned. And I'm curious about this one as the last one go out. So normally we're going to prep TSM like to ban Finka, they like to ban Azami. That's not what we normally do. Here on Theme Park, clearly it's going to be a little bit of a different story. Both these sides haven't chose to ban an operator. I wonder if there's anything going on with that one. But we'll look at this as we go into Theme Park. TSM have already shown it in this competition. BDS would have likely watched the VOD and had time to prep. How do you think they're going to come? Are they going to come with counter shots? Or are they just looking at being aware of what happened?
I think you need to do a little bit of both, if we're being honest with it. But the key of a really good team is to make the other team play your game. If you go in fully counter-stratting and trying to play, you know, stop the other team from playing their game, you're not really giving yourself the best possible opportunity. For TSM, this is a big deal for them because, once again, they're not going to the major. BDS are heartbroken when you consider how the week went for them. It's straight out of being knocked out of the potential playing in the major. They then have to hop on a plane and come out here. So both these sides' prep coming into this was not ideal.
No, I mean, you don't want to be coming out on a flight. It's a long journey from France to get out here to play in this competition. For BDS, especially after the heartbreaking kind of so close but so far storyline, not being able to make it to Berlin. However, they are a strong side. They have been around in the top flight of European competition for many, many years. And this is, I mean, to give credit to the team, this is the first time they've ever missed an international event in a long, long time as well. So for BDS, it's going to be a little bit of a revenge story for them. TSM still in that rebuilding phase, or at least looking to get the performance back to the caliber of which they expect. And I mean, touching on that, they brought in Snake on that trial position for this event so far, not playing in this matchup. But MVP, the last time they played, really making a standard performance. And so far, all the trial players are those two kind of last edition for the NA teams of Dexter for SSG and, of course, TSM. So Snake coming in have made massive impacts to these teams and have shown a little bit of a spark and almost a glance back at what these rosters were back in their prime.
Yeah, and I'm going to be real. I was excited to see Snake today after the performance yesterday. Really looking forward to put what he could put on board. But it is Pojo coming, and it's not as if it's a bad situation to be in. The one good thing for whoever wins this game, we spoke yesterday about fatigue being real. Whoever wins this map, 3 maps yesterday, you know, 1 best of 3 yesterday, 1 today, then you're into the semi-finals tomorrow. It's pretty stress-free.
It is. You want to get this match. You want to win this. You don't want to risk the lower bracket. That is more time in server, more time playing. That is going to be extra fatigue added on top of it. And less time to prep, of course, because you drop into the lower bracket right now, you've got to prep for the lower bracket. You can't look forward towards your semi-final because you don't know who you're facing and you don't even know if you're going to be there tomorrow. So for both these teams, that is a massive factor, of course, over the course of this competition. And we are back in. So for a band phase that I have a feeling will look a little bit more standard, and it does. We'll see that Jackal taken away very quickly from BDS. And you know, on a map that has a lot of roam presence potential like Theme Park, not too surprised with that one at all, and nor am I surprised with the removal of a Thatcher by TSM. They are leading the charge. They do like to ban Finka a lot inside of NAL, but they've decided to leave that LMG on the boards today.
Yeah, well, Thatcher's one of those operators that's banned down. Azami, that's the ban you expected to see from them this time around as well. So they don't ban Finka. They will ban out Azami. With Thatcher off the board, though, it does change the dynamic of this map a little bit. Then we're going to see Mira removed again. So not too surprised with the 2 bans on defense. What that does do is it opens up the likes of Valk and Kaid, who can have a massive impact on a game as well. And look, this is Theme Park. This is a roamer's paradise. There's defined sections inside this map. It is only 2 floors, but with it is all about map control. When you come to Theme Park, you need to control as much real estate as possible.
And it's a map that's not necessarily the easiest to get that initial control as well. Your entryways are very heavily contested, so a team that can play with an aggressive roam style or roam presence can cause lots of issues, especially on the defensive side. But the way the climate's going right now, you do see more success for the attacking side of teams, and TSM starting on that now. What can they do is they're going to be attacking Throne Armory first time. One of the heaviest weighted defensive win rate sites outside of Oregon. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can crack this one down, but I can't wait to get into this matchup between these 2 teams.
Really cannot wait. Looking at the defensive side, Valk will be in play. They've got Malusi being played by LMs, which is always a nightmare. Brede bringing out the alibi as well. And Legion, just such a good intel operator to have as well. Slowing down attacks, letting you know where they're pushing from. On the attacking side, though, there will be a 6th pick as Ayana will be replaced out by Twitch. No surprise to see Twitch being played here as well. But the big thing, Merc rocking Finka with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, because like you said, in NAL, we didn't see a lot of it.
Merc on the Finka is going to be a dangerous proposition for anyone in a gunfight. One of the best players mechanically. You don't want to go up head-to-head against it and can send so much lead down range as well. It's going to be a nightmare to fight, but it looks like BDS right now have established themselves upstairs for a roam presence. They're going to want to contest the entry best they can, try to drain away some utility, maybe take a life or 2 away from TSM before they move in for that execution. But Merc makes that initial entryway down in lockers and will try and be that cutoff by the bottom of yellow stairs as well as Gong Office. What can he do here is just lie and wait for the rest of his team to get information and in position.
Yeah, and the extra barricade there as well, just giving more of an audio cue for BDS onto where this attack is coming from. Bolo's going to go ahead and get rid of some of those default cams and get ready to drop down that hatch at some point once he realizes where is vacant and where is to play it with. But this is the first round of a best of 3 is always a tense one because both sides are going to feel each other out. This is, of course, 2 very different regions going head to head with 10 names that we know oh so well.
Absolutely. BDS and TSM like their structure, but Shaiko likes to find the opening pick on the Bolo as well. Keep an eye on that head-to-head, but Merc pops up and gets that trade to Rafal. Finds that pick back to level playing field. A quick explosion of action, but TSM have really got a lot of control from it. And it's going to get even worse and compounded by the Lems. He'll find one. The Pojo, you've lost your hard breach. The only hard breach for TSM as well. And you're attacking Armory Throne. You want to get that wall open by bottom yellow, and guess what? That job's become completely impossible.
It is not going to work out, but there's still a lot of fragging potential on the side of TSM. But a great start. Shaiko, of course, 1 kill on the board. Hunting down that tournament top killer, what, 25k? If he can go and just complete that one. But achieved. Pushing down now through bathroom. Another engagement, and there's siege timing coming in. But the peek in through drug achieved. He's just got the creeping Valk on the other side of that ice hockey table. Shaiko is ready. He's holding the angle, and Whippet, he's making a little bit of noise, and I think both these players know exactly where each other are. And there's the swing coming on out. Shaiko gets the double kill, and Achieved will fall.
He heard the nade pull, he heard that pin removed, and he just decided to pounce and get that pick. Gio will try and find the trade, but it might be desperate efforts now. Lots of angles to check, and the CZ in his back pocket will be his tool of choice to do so, but Shaiko going large, finding 3 in the opening round, and he'll lurk inside a bathroom. A C4 to cover his escape, and he'll run away. He's done his job. Merc will find 1 more. That's a Lems, 2 in the round for Finka, but Shaiko has done the damage. Surely you can't find 3 in 8 seconds. I believe in Merc, but I believe more in Shaiko. Gets it done. 4 in the round. And TSM really had no answer to it. They had no map control, and they had no real area denial. They could not get any influence on the map at all.
Yeah, just Shaiko flexing on Bolo in the first minute of that one as well. 2 eyes, but 4 Ks in that one as he carries the brunt of the weight for Team BDS in round number 1. Getting ready to move into round 2 though, Whippet, for TSM. Not only did they not even get near sight, they barely got into the map.
They really struggled with that one. And I mentioned that the entryways are going to be heavily contested on this map in particular because you don't really have a fine selection of them. So that's what BDS done. They were there, they were able to fight for that initial map control, but TSM looked a little bit scattered in that. They weren't really together. They kind of sent Merc and Bolo off on separate missions by themselves. And it didn't work. They ran into BDS, they ran into Shaiko, and they had no solution for it. So, good opening round for our French side of BDS. Can they continue to claw back Europe's throne against TSM here? Long day ahead, though. Only the very first round of a best of 3.
First round of a best of 3, and as we learned last night, but when you get 2 teams like this going head-to-head, we normally go all the way to that 3rd map. This one is so important for TSM. This is their map pick. If BDS can break that serve once again, it puts them in a great position going in the club, but we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. That is, of course, way down the line. A Lems will get the opener this time as the Finka will be removed, and not only are you removing that LMG, you're getting rid of those nades and that all-important ability to stem your teammates and get downed players back on their feet. So 2 rounds in a row, and BDS have got the opener.
That's the 2nd time, as you said, BDS have found the opening pick. This tends to be a massive conversion rate for the defensive side. If the defensive side, especially the defensive-weighted map, can find that opening pick, you tend to have a 60% boon to your chances of winning the round. Now, TSM fighting against the odds. They're actually decided to have a pretty good bounce-back statistic as well. They always find a way to try and claw rounds back. They've got the talent to do so all throughout their ranks. However, can they find out against the caliber of BDS? Both teams, though, I will caveat this, struggling inside of their own regions. Bolo will lead the charge. Dokkaebi call just went out from Gio as well, so I have the audio cue in his ears trying to creep and crawl his way closer. But all these Valkyrie cameras that we see Shaiko watching one right now will get spotted out by Bolo on that scanner of IQ. Not a common operator, but he'll get lots of information, see lots of what the site setup is. And right now, BDS very keen and content just to sit and wait for TSM to arrive.
Yeah, all 4 of those defenders are within a couple of seconds of both those chassis as Bolo begins to push up towards that coffee machine. Rafal just waiting, and they're really struggling to get the wall open. Maverick is going to put some work in, and now that line of sight onto B has been created. Bunk under pressure, drone comes out, but Rafal will hold his line beside the table. Tense moments here, but with 1 minute and 20 left on the clock, we've still got 33% of the round left to go, so the pressure isn't on TSM just yet.
Oh, I'm going to put an asterisk to that one. Player down very early. With a minute left, and they're going to be having to funnel themselves to pretty nasty positions. You've lost grenades, you've lost an MG, and you lost your ability to heal on Finka as well. And Ranchero is very much in a good position just to sit and hold inside a break. It's a rotation out to Gallery as well. And as we only got 50 seconds left to go, you got to start to thinking TSM need to get rolling. You can't sit, you can't wait, you can't stall. But look at Dokkaebi on a long rotation out towards Cafe. This could be huge, but will it arrive too late, or what impact can Geo find?
Yeah, well, Bolo will sneak on through, takes a lot of damage from Shaiko on the stairs, but Alems will take out Geo, and Shiro will take down Achieve. Bolo pulls one back, but not before Pojo will fall to Shiro, and Rafal closes that one out. BDS, once again, very steady round from them. Get the opener pick, convert it out, and TSM very one-directional again.
Yeah, it was very two-dimensional from the side of TSM. They struggled with that because they were leaving themselves with very little entry avenues, and they got stuck by it. They stalled out, and when you're playing against a team that can very much win their ones like BDS, when you try and funnel yourself through those narrow entryways, guess what? Shaiko, Rafal, Alems, they're all waiting to catch you napping. So 2 rounds to the side of BDS. Good opening for them in this matchup as well. And one thing, the caveat, the decision to this you'd have to look at is TSM have showed this map. Have BDS prepped it? Have they counter-shot? Have they figured out what they need to do? Because it wasn't an easy time against MIBR for the side of TSM.
It really wasn't, and what I love about these international lands is the stylistic differences between sides as well. Team BDS, though, what I've loved so far about them is the decision-making of when and where to take on these gunfights. They have pushed for the opener pick, and both times they got the opener pick, they attempted to fall back straight away. It's like, job done. Now you're fighting against TSM with one hand behind their back. So round 3, it's vitally important that TSM A can keep all 5 players alive into the first minute, and B, even get that opener pick to give yourself something to play with.
They need something. They need something to grab onto, a ledge, a helping hand, anything. But BDS are a very experienced roster. They aren't going to give that up. They are just going to make TSM work very, very hard to find anything at all. That opening pick won't come easy for TSM, and if they do overextend themselves in trying to get it, guess what? BDS might be able to find it themselves, and so far, a 100% win ratio for the team that finds that opening pick, and it has been BDS both times so far. Roster lineup-wise, we've not seen significant changes from TSM. They're sticking with the lineup that works. They haven't been using a lot of attacker repick. The only new addition is going to be achieved on that Flores.
And Flores is an operator that I love seeing played as well with it, because the best players, you use the utility, get rid of that defensive utility, and you can even use the drone. Just drop it down, come off the cam, and let it bait the defenders into thinking that you're not going to push. Bolo, though, pushing in through Cash, takes a little bit of damage, not enough to cause any real concern, but it's another just instance of BDS getting up in TSM's faces at the side of the map they're entering from.
What they're doing right now is they're waiting for them. They're really just trying to let TSM set the pressure on, and they have good power positions to do so. You look at that shield set up in break room, or sorry, instead of waiting, they have all utility, the catch utility sent towards it, and they can lock that down and have control of cash from that as well. And as TSM are trying to get close to BDS, guess what? They can't. They're trying, and they're stalling out, they're slowing. They need someone to be that spark, and you've got all the time to do so, but it's been slow and lethargic from them so far. Geo in a good position to try and catch one on Arcade Stairs, but doesn't have information, no drone ahead of him, and they're going to be flying somewhat blind here. They've only got 4 drones left to work with, and they're all out deployed, so he's going to have to take this fight against Rafal, and I think Rafal wants to peek it and swing. They're going to get very close to each other, and a shot just narrowly misses. BDS still keeping all players alive. 5 versus 5, 10 players still in the server. Not for long, though. Alems will find Bolo. Achieved will get one to Ranchero, leaving us with less than a minute in a 4 versus 4.
50 seconds on the clock now. Pojo pushing up in the bathroom. Rafal will take down Geo, though, making it a 4 versus 3. But look at the site. There's one player inside the vault for Pojo. If he wins this one-on-one, they've got themselves a little bit of stranglehold on one of those 2 sites. Merc pushing in. The smoke grenades coming out. Merc and Pojo will get themselves one apiece, but it's going to go back to a 2v2 as Rafal takes down Merc. Rafal, very low HP. Brede with the shotgun in the site, but Pojo and Achieved. Ace and Flores. Pojo will get one. Rafal takes back Achieved. 15 seconds left, but we don't need it. Pojo will get the round.
We talked about the coach being able to play. Guess what? Pojo can do. Closed it out in a 1v1 against Rafal. Got the job done. And TSM find themselves their very, very first round here on Theme Park. And wasn't, I would say, the cleanest of rounds. They're happy they got it, but this could be the catalyst. A springboard to get themselves playing better, sharper Siege, because right now they feel a little bit slow and sluggish. BDS have come out of the gates absolutely swinging so far. So if we move into our next round, I am really eager to see if TSM can get this tied up.
Yeah, and the sign of a good team weapon is winning a round even when it doesn't look pretty, when it doesn't look good, and that TSM will not care how they won that one as long as they got the first round on the board, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is who is going to the semi-final and who is going to that lower bracket. 5v5, we're seeing the attacker repick getting used pretty heavily here. The hard breach switching over from the Ace over to the Thermite, and Sledge being brought in for Flores. 2 more nades in the back pocket, and every single time they've continued to bring IQ.
We don't see a lot of IQ brought out for lots of rosters, but what we're seeing from TSM is the fact that they're using it to paint an overall picture of what the site setup is looking like. They know a Valkyrie's available. That's what they have to worry about. And we see operators like Legion coming up, and Ranchero from BDS. Those are annoying things that you can clear pretty easily with an IQ on the side of your team. So again, it's a sensible choice. The secondary utility being a little bit lacking on IQ is why you don't see her pick rate as high in terms of top flight competition, but we've seen Bolo doing a good job so far. One other thing I'd like to draw your attention to is, so far, Merc and Pojo are tied for top frag on the side of TSM. Not the storyline you would have looked at of seeing Pojo tied up there with stepping in on such notice, but TSM need to get everyone firing on the same page, otherwise BDS might be able to keep this pressure up. And so far, a slow round, no picks, no damage done. BDS once again will wait. They don't want to take any chances.
Yeah, it's a patient style of Siege. It's very different than some of the games that we saw yesterday, but in this 5v5, it is, like you pointed out last time, the waiting game for BDS. Let's see what TSM are going to send your way. Achieved pushing in now through Cafe. The line of sight has been created, but which side will the peak come from? The Goyos are going to be popped, and I love that move. He's bought himself time to reposition himself.
As both of those burn away, that's 15 seconds where you're just stuck inside of Cafe with nothing to do. But look at Merc. He's getting himself closer and closer inside of Daycare with the C4 down below. That's Shaiko. Now you lose that ability, you lose that Finka, and we see Pojo's in DBNO as well, meaning your Thermite's now out of the fight, as well as one of your primary fraggers, and Rafal's going to drop away. Damage done. TSM in damage recovery mode. BDS, they can just sit happy, trade away to victory, but Gio will get one back and get themselves to a level playing field as the revive to Pojo goes off.
Very important they got that too, because that's Thermite back on the board, but it is a 4 versus 4. Pojo will play the remainder of this one with pretty low HP. Bolo scouting, trying to find where Goyo has scurried on off to, but Rafal is not there anymore, so they will begin to make inroads towards that ground floor. IQ being used to spot out the Valcams. The Valcams have already had an impact in this one with the C4 coming in from below, but we're about 53 seconds on the clock, and once again, TSM 4 members left alive, and you're wondering which side they're going to make the push from.
Well, right now, they have to funnel themselves from either yellow wall or split. Now, that yellow wall is not open yet, so they might have to get a little bit of work doing to do so. And I see the verticality going up, so now they're working on it. As yellow wall gets open, it'll take a few more seconds to do so. To leave themselves around 25 seconds to make this execution work, which means they need to clear Furnace. We see one player vaulted up there, but that nade will arrive to perfection. Achieved gets it done, but Shaiko will find the trade on the Bolo now, leaving us once again in a 3 versus 3. Gio will pop in instead of maintenance and send a Lem to the Shadow Realm. He'll try and brawl his way, but with no clear avenue back to site, they're going to funnel themselves in. And look at the time, 9 seconds left to go. Gio, Channel Junior Kaneo with this one. What work can you do? But Achieve will get one more. Shaiko left all alone. He'll pick off Gio 3 in the round. He'll need an ace to clutch this one out. The case surely goes down in the hands of Pojo. No! Achieved! Off the board! Shaiko on the cusp of an ace clutch here on Theme. And he gets it! Shaiko! Pojo couldn't get it done. And BDS get themselves back to to a 2-round advantage.
9-2 for Shaiko, and the diffuser popped. Ace clutch. What a way to start this one off in the first of this best of 3. Shaiko so far, Bolo in the back pocket, 2-0 versus him. And well, that round, his movement, the way he just manipulated the map, brilliant round from Shaiko.
That is the X factor for BDS. No matter how deep of a hole they dig themselves, guess what? Shaiko can drag themselves out of it. Kicking and screaming, an ace clutch required, and they got it done. Look at this shot. Perfect flick on the Pojo, who was on low HP, so the body shot from the MPX was just enough to get it done. But huge for BDS, back to a 2-round advantage over TSM. And all of that came down to the fact they needed to rush in, and they had no clear avenue. And 30 seconds left, that's when they went to open up yellow wall. TSM time management suffering just a little bit, as they have called for a tactical timeout.
Yeah, and once again, the right time to do it. Call the timeout before you get yourself too deep into a hole. Too many times we see teams go for the tactical timeout way too late in the game. It's going to have no lasting impact. So this is the chance now for them to focus up. They really want to win the next 2 rounds.
Shaiko is 9-2 right now, within 4 rounds. 4 rounds of gameplay, and Shaiko is 9-2. You wanted anyone to go for that top kill of the entire competition? I think we've got a front runner for a very good reason. What a storming performance so far in our group stages Shaiko has had, and it's only going to continue because, again, we're only 4 rounds in against TSM. What a matchup it's been so far, especially for the French side, really looking to bounce back after what was a less than ideal performance inside of stage 2 of the UI.
Yeah, I think when you look at the way both of these sides didn't make it to the major. TSM a little bit further away. You know, they went into the last couple of play days knowing that they weren't going to make it. They improved by 1 position in NAL compared to the previous one. BDS, though, heartbreak. Absolute. It was in their own hands.
It was, but they fumbled it. Just a little bit. Couldn't get it done. I mean, both these teams are going to be disappointed in that one, so which is why we're looking at this going in, okay? They're going to be, I think, playing for a lot. I mean, these players want to play well. They're very much motivated. This prize is fantastic for these teams as well. They really want to put out a showing. And so far, we've seen all these teams come out absolutely swinging. Shaiko, though, massive on the Valkyrie so far. Huge impact. Lobs those cameras in. The team can use that all round long. And that MPX, well, a bit of a flashback to Nesk's golden days, being able to use that one so aggressively. But we move into the round number 5. Can TSM get themselves back within touching distance, or will TSM start to break the toe?
Well, this will be a good way to get up and running. Get the opening pick. Don't let Team BDS bully you like they have done in a couple of rounds already. Already starting the drone work on the top floor. Just have a little look around control, top dragon stairs, and see if you can get into the building for free at that section map. Bolo already pushing into bottom dragon as they are working a little bit quicker this time around. But Bolo playing on the Maverick as well will be able to open up those walls if they can get him close enough to them.
Well, getting close enough is going to be the problem. I mean, BDS are really making it difficult for TSM right now, and it is part of the fact that TSM need that catalyst, they need to find that opening pick, and most of the time they're on the receiving end of that one. An invert repel on top of Cafe window. Not really something we see a lot of, but it's a pretty safe position for Geo. He'll send the drone in. No one's going to be just trying to send it out that doorway just yet. Merc will try and get some live information on towards yellow stairs. We'll send the nade up. Nothing arrives, so damage, but that will hurt Shaiko to your position. And right now, there's someone you don't want hunting you down. It might just be Shaiko.
Not this version of Shaiko at all. He is absolutely tearing it up so far here in Gamers8. Achieved peeking through those little footholes that have been made by the defenders, trying to make them work the other way around. Pojo works his way now into initiation. Bolo is there as well, so the Maverick going to work. Nades in the back pocket, need to get rid of this utility to open up that wall. Rafal playing the exact same position that in this time around, and Rafal will take down Bolo, making the job even more difficult for TSM.
Another opening pick for BDS, and they rarely lose his position. Shaiko, however, going to get slain out by Geo. He can't continue his reign of terror, trying to get that kill record boosted. Under a minute now, 50 seconds, and well, Merc will try and creep his way up. He's going to be in stealth with that knock and might just find BDS napping. What will he do here? Tucked himself in by the vending machine, but he'll be patient. He might get choked out, but he's going to find one the Brede. He's going to look for even more, and Merc's going to go on a rampage. He's going to get one more in DBNO, 2 in the round. They now have the advantage, 3 versus 2. Can BDS claw their way back as Ronchero will try to do so. We'll find one to Lems, and it's going to be fantastic. Rafal gets on the Merc, leaving it all down the Pojo. The coach left alone once again. 20 seconds. He can rotate. He can move. He needs to find his opening pick, but there's, look at this. The perfect trade is there, and this is going to be a horrible brawl around this position, and surely BDS will just burn the time. A fantastic rotation from the Kaid. As we hit red on that timer, Pojo gets one. Surely not. He's going to have to be forced to get this stick down. He's got no other option at this point. 0-0, and that will surely be his demise. There's no way he gets this.
No way.
There's no way. Pojo,
There we
absolutely
go.
no chance, and he's going to be DBNO. Okay. I thought for a moment Rafal left it late, but BDS get themselves another round, and they now lead by 3 versus TSM.
7-3 now for Rafal as well, and maybe he just wanted those extra couple of points. Maybe he's picking the word back on to get his way back towards Shaiko. But whip it is 4-1 to BDS.
4-1 to BDS on a map choice of TSM. Now, we saw something very similar yesterday, where teams traded their own map choices, but a massive play for Merc there, popping up, finding that pick-off. But there's something missing right now from TSM. There's just that bite, that venom, there's nothing there right now from them. Now, they're sort of, they're winning rounds, or getting close to winning rounds. Another 1vx situation. This time Pojo couldn't pop up and find it. And that massive Shaiko ace clutch. You know, they're getting themselves in good positions, but A, it's either the X factor, or they just can't close out the round. But they're really struggling in the early and mid stages to have a significant impact right now. And BDS, well, they're going to keep growing this advantage. This map does lean a little bit defender favored. TSM, you got to get at least one more round in.
Yeah, and I think TSM, they didn't look hyper ready for the patient approach that BDS are taking, where they're forcing them to make something happen. 10 seconds until this round gets underway. The 6th pick, or not the 6th pick, but the attacker repick, taking Flores in for Achieve. Bolo goes back to IQ, but on the defense, there's no real reason for BDS to change much because it's working.
I couldn't agree more. What does BDS need to do extra here, realistically? They, swap who's on what operators. And Cheru and Alems have swapped now, so we're going to see the Legion on the hands of Alems this time around. However, BDS, they're playing perfect around what TSM are doing. It doesn't help that Snake's not here for TSM as well. That would have been a little bit of a helping factor, but BDS are playing perfectly around what the opposition is giving them. And we've seen a pretty muted side of TSM so far, not what we expect when we see the talent throughout this entire roster. But still a long series ahead. We're only through the first half of the very first map of a best of 3. So if you're still rooting for TSM in Twitch chat, I can guarantee there is a fighting chance they can claw this one back.
And I think for BDS, the pacing of TSM is so predictable. They're not altering things up. They're not changing. It's the same sort of attack over and over again. And for the likes of BDS, a team that's been one of the best sides in Europe for a long, long side, they will love to see that happen. Merc down in the bottom floor again, not looking to maybe capture some of that magic from the last round where he managed to cause some havoc. Alems on top of the stairs though. Bolo pushing in through Cafe. He's going to spot a player around the corner. The shoulder is there, and he hits the head. Rafal will fall, and that is an opener this time around for TSM.
TSM need this. This is what they need way more often. They need to get the opening pick. They need to find that success. Bolo will find a second one in the round now with the Rochero. Has this been the Bolo activated round for TSM fans? You certainly hope so. They need someone to be able to take the fight to BDS. He can't make it 3, and guess what the roadblock is? It's Shaiko.
Well, they were asking when does Bolo play, and I think Bolo started to play that round, but Shaiko once again asserting dominance. Another kill as he takes down the coach. Pojo will fall. Shaiko is just one man arming his way as he gets the knock onto Achieved as well.
No way.
One man.
He's clear.
Shaiko with a triple. No way. Is he going to get another ace? Oh, he doesn't, but Alems clutches around Shaiko with another 4K, and a 5K already.
Absolutely clear. Shaiko is clear right now. That man is a menace to TSM right now. now. They can shut him down. It looked like Bolo was beginning to get the cogs rolling. He might have been able to have a big round, but he ran into the roadblock of Shaiko. And inside a break room, he danced, twisted, and turned his way to absolutely unravel TSM. That shot, oh my! And he is on an absolute tear. No one can shut him down. They can one by one to meet their maker. And BDS 5-1 split.
Shaiko, go kill. Just great tactic. It works. If it's not broken, don't fix it. We're going on to the BDS attack, and they are just 2 rounds away from taking the lead in this best of 3. TSM's timeout didn't quite work at all. We had no impact. They didn't change their pacing. They didn't change anything after that one.
I mean, it's difficult because this is Shaiko's world. We're just living in it right now. This is, I mean, obviously, there's enabling right now. BDS are enabling Shaiko to play well with their strategy. They also have good information because he's on the Valkyrie. They're putting cameras out. But the mechanics to make those moments work, well, absolutely sublime. So 2 rounds away from closing this one out and getting themselves to the next map, which will be Club, which was their choice as well. A little bit scary for TSM in terms of that. How will this one fare? TSM needs something, and they really need to get that opening pick.
Yeah, well, you questioned, or you spoke about the fact they're enabling Shaiko. Look at the amount of assists BDS have as well. They're taking those members of TSM down. Merca's going to get the opener on 2 LMs, but last time they got the opening, didn't quite work out.
Well, they needed it, though. While it might not have worked out the last time around, they now have side-swapped. It's a little bit of a different story on the defensive side. It's a big boon to get that opening pick. Shaiko, or not Shaiko, Bolo on the vigil will try and look to cause some chaos. He will sit still as that lion charge rains off around him. Pojo will find one on the Ranchero. Shaiko will try and lead the charge, but tantalizingly close to finding that vigil. A late yellow ping goes up. That nade won't arrive upon its destination, but that might just cue that vigil of Bolo to try and take this fight. I think he's going to rotate inside of maintenance, but Shaiko will try and fight through the beams. His position is now known and compromised, but he is very much fighting between a rock and a hard place. He has a good idea that someone's there. Pojo will fall their hands or fall with that DMR, but caught crossing is Bolo. Merc will find the try and make it 2-3 in the round, leaving Shaiko all alone. Surely not. On the side, the other side, he found it, but oh no. Merc is gone. Shaiko, don't do this. Don't do this to TSM. Simply, you cannot be this good with 1:30 left to go. You'll recover the case. We're on the cusp of something great here.
Shaiko again pushing for more kills, but Geo will take him down, and that is another round win for TSM. Their second of the map, but BDS, they're still not panicking. They have got the bulk of the work done on defense. They only need 2 rounds.
2 rounds to get themselves over the line. Massive, massive, massive for the side of TSM to shut down Shaiko in that momentum. I'm almost at a loss for words. I'm a caster. I'm meant to be able to say words. That's my job. That's what I'm here to do. And Shaiko makes that very difficult because that is incredible talent. Couldn't quite get Don Gio shut down big now. Can that be the springboard? They won the round swap. Round 7, often very crucial to many teams as you go from that attack to defense or the other way around. It changes how the map works. Essentially, it's 2 different games on either side of the attack defense coin. And a good start for TSM. They need to continue it. They really need to continue it because you can't slip. You slip up twice. You make 2 mistakes. Guess what? You go in a Clubhouse.
Like Shaiko, he's almost at a 3 KD, nearly averaging, well, he is averaging 2 kills per round at this point in the game as well. As we spoke about him being the kill leader going into this map, he is now miles ahead of everyone else. But we look at the side of TSM. Merc's dropped 9 kills already. He is carrying a lot of the work for him, but he really needs the likes of Bolo achieved to step up because he cannot do all the work.
He can't. You cannot rely on one player. I get that that's kind of counterintuitive on how BDS have been playing so far. But typically, you don't want to rely on one player to be able to find that success. And Gio has been actually the bane of Shaiko right now. But I think he's got like 3 or 4 picks directly onto him. So that's kind of an interesting stat line to follow out through this matchup. But TSM, they need that opening pick again. They need to play slow. They need to play methodical. They need to really not let BDS get in and get into that flow. Because you let BDS in, you let BDS get into the element, get that initial map control. That's when you begin to struggle against them. And I think Merc will try and contest this initial entryway, and he does. He shuts down Shaiko, finds that early pick, and TSM in far better standing on the defensive side so far. Way more comfortable on this side.
Yeah, Merc did exactly what he needed to do, and he's not falling back. He's going to continue to hold this push, because as of right now, BDS are putting a lot of resources into pushing through. Look, 3 drones stopped by the 1 mute jammer on the door. They're just unable to get any intel as to what is going on inside Cash. Bolo takes a little chunk of damage now too. Geo playing inside the bathroom as well, waiting for just one member of BDS to just sneak inside.
Rafal will find one, find the bowler, but Merc will pick up his second in the round, couldn't make it 3. That's only a drone he managed to flick himself down towards. 4 versus 3 in favor of TSM so far, much better on the defensive side, really punishing BDS for trying to get this control. You've lost 2 players now on the side of the French squad. What can you do to solve it? As TSM have fallen back. They don't need to hold that control anymore because you're only against 3 players now. Trade your way to victory, so BDS will happily take that control, but they're still a little bit cautious about that initial clear.
It's still a 4v3. 1 pick for BDS here does open the door once more, whereas a kill for TSM will all but secure the round. 55 seconds left on the clock, and Alems are going to open that wall from control and towards initiation to create another line of sight. But look at the defender just sitting around the corner. Gunfire fired. Alems drops a drone, which will give a massive audio cue. And now he's going to get himself in a gunfight that he's going to lose to Pojo. But there's BDS to refrag. Merc is going to trade that one back. It's a 3v1. It is all down to Renshiro.
I'm going to say TSM might lock this one out. Just saying. Just a little bit of a sneaking suspicion to that one, unless absolute heroics. Look how close Merc is. Not achieved, and he gets shut down. Maybe just a little bit of a chance in a 1v2. 15 seconds. BDS though have requested themselves a timeout, so they want to recover after this, no matter the result. Ranchero with such little time, Gio will shut him down once again, finding that all-important pick to deny any potential clutch, and of course we go into that BDS tactical timeout. On the offensive side, they now feel muted. It's somewhat of a similar story to what we saw with TSM. They're struggling with that initial entryway, they're being contested, they can't find picks, and that round, a real highlight of it, they were information starved. They had no way of knowing where anyone was, and the one time they saw a drone, Alems had too many bodies in his way, and he was in a really bad position to make anything happen, all by his lonesome in pillar instead of initiation. So, much better from TSM so far on the second half of this matchup. You wonder, though, can they continue it or not with the help of this tactical timeout? Will BDS find a way to get a little bit of spring back in their punches?
I like it. I like this being taken, because what it will do is I want to see if TSM are going to use that timeout differently. Or sorry, BDS are going to use it differently than how TSM did. TSM took a timeout, didn't really change anything. Our BDS, did they see something that maybe they want to talk about, to maybe try take advantage of? Because they have just lost 2 rounds back-to-back. But they're still in a powerful position. 5-3 lead. Any team would take that at this point in a map.
Well, any team's going to take being ahead. If you're leading a matchup, you're going to be happy. You're not losing. And these teams don't like losing. So BDS have a blanket 2 rounds until they're back level with TSM, so they have some time to try and figure this out and how they can get themselves in the building, and in the building without taking 2 casualties beforehand. This map is defense-sided. Theme Park is notoriously difficult to break down, especially with a team that likes to be in your face and contest those entryways. TSM are doing a good job now on their defensive side, similar to what we saw BDS do. A little bit more aggression on the side of TSM has been fantastic compared to what we saw from BDS. So, I think momentum's beginning to shift in this matchup. I think TSM, they get this next round, that's a red flag for BDS.
They've woken up a little bit, and look at the way they've picked this operator lineup on defense as well. They've got Frost, they've got Legion, couple of traps on the board. Pojo's going to fall back. So how many times do we see coaches come in and play smoke?
10 seconds left.
We see Pojo do it a lot.
Yeah.
Pojo is pretty known for coming in and playing a little bit of smoke. Again, a talented player. A pro player back down the era of flip side tactics. Many moons ago, instead of year 1, I believe. But this is very close for TSM to getting themselves back in this matchup. For what looked like it was going to be a BDS absolute steamroll, now all of a sudden BDS's momentum's run. They weren't able to convert that energy, that momentum, that aggression that they have on the defensive side onto the offense at all. And TSM have come alive here. They're finding BDS on that initial entryway. They're making it very difficult to get any control whatsoever. And if BDS continue this trend of dropping the early pick as the opening casualty, well, that's going to be a problem all on its own. Shaiko sends an aid. Will that land? Yes, it does.
Oh, great nade onto Geo. And, you know, we spoke about the fact that momentum is back with TSM, but let's not forget that if BDS win this, they go to match point with multiple attempts to close this one out. Shaiko, though, back on the board. Merc looking to play aggressive on the entry. We saw him do it over towards Cash last time as he was able to pick up a kill. The punches come out, but there is the Lion to freeze him in place, and he will take down Shaiko. Down goes the Finka, but Alems is there to take Merc out. The refrag again, and they can trade their way out if they play this one right.
Much better from BDS that time, opening pick and a trade, and guess what? Things are going to get awkward now as Brede and a Pogmat finished off by Pojo, leaving one player alone on the rappel. That's Rafal. He'll try and burn away. No! Out goes Pojo, but he's going to get caught mid-air as it's going to be achieved next to fall to Alems, leaving Bolo all alone against 3. He'll find 1, 2 more to go. BDS, time to circle, time to enclose him, try to shut him down. He has to scrap, has to look left and right. Every angle becomes a death trap now. A minute 20, so BDS don't need to rush into this. They can wait to get information, they can find exactly where he is, and they'll try and get this case down. They have a good player inside of control, that's the cover they need. What will Bolo do? Well, he has to try and take these fights, and they won't be easy as the case now goes down. The player and pillar is going to be activated once more. He knows someone's by control, but Rafal shuts him down. BDS, match point. Map 1 versus TSM.
And that opening pick, anytime they get it, you can put your house almost on them going on to win that round. That time, they didn't even get in the building. That nade was just cooked to perfection. Chef Ramsey going to work with Shaiko. And then whenever he did get taken out, there was Alems on the spot. Pojo jumping out, trying to make something happen for TSM, but the reactions coming through from Rafal to get that one. And BDS, 3 attempts now at match point. This is not their map. This is Theme Park. And if they win this one, they are going to Clubhouse. They are going to Dubhouse to try secure a semi-final spot.
If that adjustment in the tactical timeout has been that much of an impact to BDS, well, kudos to whoever made that call. Whatever they decided to do, change mentally at least in terms of how they wanted to attack this. Now, TSM, you're forced to be flawless. You're forced to find 3 more rounds to get yourselves even the chance of going to overtime. You've got yourself a very long road ahead of them. But I'm a little bit of a dreamer. Now, I want you to be undefeated. In series, not necessarily in match. So I'd love to see them at least get themselves a little bit more competitive. I love this side, love this roster, love this team, but BDS have looked too strong.
They have, and I've just noticed well, they have lost a lot of players to nades, and they have taken no denial whatsoever, no Jaeger, no Amai, and you look at the side of BDS, they have got 6 nades and 3 flashes.
So BDS can essentially send these nades and win the round, if they have the good information to do so. Getting information on a player like Bolo when he's on Vigil, not going to be easy, however. So, what can he do on this row? Once again, Merc in this position, up by Dragon Stairs. He will try and fight this entry best he can. Critical to do so. Misses that player repelling in, but doesn't want to show his hand just yet. They'll see that window cracked, and they'll know there's likely going to be someone there, as they've already fallen victim to this play once before. So BDS a little bit cautious, but every time they've attacked this side of the building, they really have struggled, and this is somewhat, this whole section, this whole half of Theme Park, that's Merc's domain.
It is, and he's going 13-8. Like, we have been singing the plaudits of Shaiko. Merc is only 2 kills behind, but he's seen the situation. He saw all the drones, going to reposition himself to another area of the map where he can have an impact. Vigil still sneaking, looking towards Cafe and the Hatch. He's just checking all of his angles because he doesn't want to get taken out in the gunfight where he doesn't even see his executioner Geo pushing up the stairs as well. They are really still hanging on to this top floor. They've just repositioned players. Merc has gone down, they've sent all their players up.
I mean, that's what you need to do. They're trying to play to always keep pressure on side of BDS right now. So, Merc goes down, more players go up. They're trying to make this entry hard, and look how slow the pacing is right now. BDS are not comfortable with clearing the eastern side of this map so far. They've really not had a free time to do so, and they've got control now, but like, look at the time. A minute 10 left. They haven't got a pick. They've only got a little bit of control, but there's the pick. Almost like a cursed TSM there. Alems get one. Brede will find another one on the Bolo. And now you get a little bit worried for the side of TSM. Achieved has a C4 in his back pocket. Does he have information to help guide it to its target? As every bit above him gets cracked open. He'll be very cautious. That C4 might be perfectly timed, and it is! He finds the LEMS, and that could be the pulse, the lifeline that TSM need in this round.
Yeah, it's a 4v3, so things still looking good for BDS, but the clock is ticking. Time is working away. Merc still playing on the top floor. Pojo behind throne. All this work being done by BDS, but they've still not made any inroads towards site whatsoever. Merc is watching the hatch, waiting for the drop. Brede is eventually going to open up the door, but it's been tricked out, has it? Has been taken out.
I don't believe it was, or at least it was impact trick perhaps over the top. Cut away just that happened, but there's Merc. He pops up, he finds one. 9 seconds left. Can BDS find the plant with Pojo? He'll get stormed, leaving Merc unachieved alone. Scratch that, just Merc, and that's gonna be the map. BDS close it out. They get it done against TSM, the very first map of this series. And let I remind you, Theme was a choice of TSM.
And that's a BDS we have not seen over the course of EUL in the last stage. Had they played like that, they would be going straight from here to Berlin. But they are working their way straight through to that semi-final instead if they can pull one more map.
All they need now is victory on either Oregon or either Clubhouse next or Oregon as our decider. But that tactical timeout, that changed it. That absolutely changed how BDS were playing. They managed to get themselves in far better opening engagements. They got trades. They played way more together. Absolutely fantastic from BDS. They get themselves over the hill of TSM in the very first map. But they do need to go to Clubhouse next. That is their choice. But I'm never going to go against a team like TSM on Club.
We never will, but one place we are going to go to is back to the desk to have the analysts break this one down.
Thank you very much, gents. Yes, we are back on the analyst desk, and honestly, European teams not having too bad of a moment. BDS taking map 1 in the series, and that's what we want to see, at least our European bias here on the desk. But TSM had some good moments. There are a few issues to look at here and there, but first, BDS's victory is all on that defense start, Tristan.
Absolutely on the defense start. Me and Fresh were saying it whilst we were in the venue watching it. If you can leave Theme Park open. It's a map that BDS haven't played in a year, but you can leave it open if you're going to get the defense first. Defense first on that map, as the casters have said as well, is incredible. It's really strong, and especially, which we'll go into with the operators that were banned.
We'll take a look at our scoreboard for just a second here, brought to you by SDC, and talk about these highlight players in the matchup, Fresh, because one of them was very clearly out there, wasn't he?
There's one of them that really fancies getting that top kills and MVP award, I think, in terms of Shaiko. And I think he's had another great series there. 16 kills in a map, you know, an ace clutch, and nearly ace. He got a 4K in another round. Like, he's playing probably the siege of his life right now, and that's hard to topple because he's been playing so consistently well for so long now.
It says a lot when you can say Shaiko is playing the siege of his life right now.
Yeah.
That really means a lot.
Yeah. It's because like even his standard is like top of the scoreboard, right? But when he's playing the siege of his life now, and he looks like he's having so much fun as well. You look at the BDS players in the actual arena on the cams. They're so relaxed. They're nice and happy. You know, even when they were doing the lineups against TSM out on the walk-ins, they were just, you know, they were chilling. They were just laughing. Looked very relaxed.
Well, we'll run some highlights from the matchup, of course, brought to you by Aramco, one of our many sponsors here at Gamers8, and talk about, in general, the action that went down. That big start, 5-1 on the half. TSM locked in a couple of rounds with once the swap had happened, but there was not enough wiggle room for TSM to be like, okay, even if we lose a round, it's okay, we can come back.
When you start any half 5-1 up, I think you're in a good spot, unless you're Rogue. But if you're 5-1 up on a half, then you're very happy. And I think that we're going to talk about it. The Valkyrie on Shaiko, he had so much freedom, which we're going to see. And BDS could play so slow and so reserved on their defense. TSM had to sit there on an IQ for a minute and a half.
Yeah, I think TSM, they really they didn't adapt to the fact that Valkyrie was up as well. It's kind of the lineups they were bringing, they either didn't adapt or they over-adapted. You know, they over-adapted to a point where they had no Finka, they had no Ayana, they had no Sophia, because they were having to bring a Dokkaebi, they were having to bring an IQ, they were having to bring a Nook to actually just circumvent the Valkyrie cameras and the information. So I think having that operator up, it really disrupted TSM. Obviously, this is why Theme Park's always an awkward one to choose in the best of 3. Because even if you choose it, you're always starting on the attack. playing, obviously they're playing with coach as well. And, you know, like I say it all the time, but once you go 5-1 down on a half, there really is very little chance of coming back from that.
Yeah, the operator ban, we were talking about it just a minute ago. The Azami ban, given how BDS kind of usually plays on here, is an oddity, but again, that's the first map in the series. TSM are world champions. They have the, you know, the strength to put it aside and then prepare for map 2. But before we get to all of that, Jack, you got something you want to talk about on
I've got some telestration, particularly about the Azami ban and the Valkyrie. So I'm just going to go over to the telestrator desk now. And the one thing, I'm going to set the scene, so it's round 4. We've seen a lot of Valkyrie already coming out of Shaiko. And the one thing that I want to highlight once I press the play button is, so TSM, they're trying to clear out the top floor. It's an armory throne defense, which means that BDS, they're presenting problems for TSM up on the top floor in the form of 3 different players, a lot of utility, and crucially, that IQ and the Valkyrie. So, if we look at the 3 players, you can see there's 1 player here, 1 player playing inside a train, and 1 player in arcade. Now, the bit that's important for me is these Goyo canisters here. Both of these Goyo canisters, because they direct traffic into a C4 roll position. You're going to see, I think it's a Chief that goes into Cafe, and that one quick peek that comes out from Rafal gives the information. He is inside of Cafe, and you can see the Goyo canisters get burnt straight away. A Chief can't do anything. He can't go and push this. So, what does Merc do? You can just see it there. He jumps in the arcade window. And what happens then is that the BDS, they've got information on him through the form of Valkyrie cameras, and a C4 from below goes off from Shaiko, kills Merc, and in the end, also does an injure to Pojo Man, so gets him down to 20 HP. Now, for me, that was absolutely massive, because in the end, this came down to the clutch scenario where Shaiko got the ace clutch. It was that round. But it started off so well with the use and the interaction between Goyo and the Valkyrie as well.
Thank you very much, Jack, and that kind of pulls everything together for map number 1 in the series. BDS up 1-0, 7-3 was our result for it. So we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll break things down for map number 2 and get you right into the action. Welcome back, friends. Only a few seconds separate us from our second map of the first matchup, so let's get straight into it. Clubhouse is set second map, and we have the starting side here, defense for TSM. And the start, Tristan, your thoughts on all this?
BDS attack first. BDS will have wanted to attack first, so me and Fresh not too happy about this for a TSM perspective. I can't see past a BDS win here.
BDS always liked attacking first on Clubhouse when, when Clubhouse was defender-sided, it's now attacker-sided. I just hope TSM, they ban away the Finker and the Valkyrie.
Well, gentlemen, let's bring up our casters. Friends, you ready for us? There you go. On to map number 2. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Milos. And this is map number 2 of the series. BDS 1 map away from the semi-finals. For all of our fans in NA, though, they're going to be hoping for TSM to go back-to-back to win this one. But Whippets, they are going to need to put in a lot of work on attack if they want to win.
As we saw Tristan and Fresh say, BDS want to be on attack for this one. Certainly Shaiko does want to be on that Finka as well. It is the choice of BDS. They're on attack. This is going to be, they're going to have a good time here. I think that TSM are in a little bit of deep water right now. They show potential on theme. It's just that defense of BDS was too hard to break down, and the rounds that BDS were able to get on the side swap just put them a little bit too far ahead. So we go into our ban phase here on Clubhouse, map number 2 of this best of 3 series, and to surprise of absolutely nobody, it's Thatcher first to go.
Yeah, Thatcher the first to be removed. Ban coming in now from BDS, and we'll see who they're going to take on out of this one. 1 second gone. They waited. They bided their time. They took out Maverick, who was one of the operators that Bolo was picking time and time again on the first map.
The Maverick makes sense here, because when you ban this Maverick away, it's harder to get that wall open. It forces you now, okay, we can't trick it, we're going to use our nades down below. Essentially, that's what they're going to do. They're going to force a play downstairs, which means you have to go below, like use your nades if you're going to clear CC. So it is going to be a little bit more around that play, and I don't think it surprised anyone. Again, Valkyrie isn't get banned away. We saw what Shaiko could do with the MPX. We saw how useful those cameras, that extra information was for BDS. TSM don't want to play against that one again. So we saw how strong BDS were on Theme Park. Are you daring enough to make a prediction for this one?
I went for them in map number 1, but map 2, this is Clubhouse's game. I think BDS will probably take this one away. This is where they want it to go. You know, when you get into these 9 map pools and you're in best of 3 banning, you're guaranteed to play your, one of your favorite maps. They're taking them to Clubhouse. This is a map where once again they can play it similar to Theme and frustrate TSM.
The last pick I'm going to bring in is the Zami's in play. We see that operator choice out right now. TSM do like to ban Azami. When you look through all the operator bans during the NAL, Azami is one that is a recurring theme for this side. And we look at the rest of this lineup, a Castle in play, an Oryx. Yeah, they're going upstairs at their own presence. This, and we even see Moto Hatch open. So they're going to try and spread themselves across the entirety of this map and make BDS work for every inch. It's something that a lot of people refer to as the SSG roam, again, from their era of dominance on this map in particular. However, we all know the counters to it. It's not exactly a bulletproof strategy anymore, and BDS might be able to crack that one relatively quickly, and Alems and the Nook might just be able to sneak past enemy lines here and get himself in a nice position early against TSM.
Yeah, TSM looking to keep that NA 100% record here on Clubhouse against EU over this tournament, as we saw SSG win this map yesterday. Shaiko taking the Finka, but achieved playing that position down in Adam. C4 prep ready, thrown at Shaiko. Not only does he click heads, he clicks utility, and then he is going to throw a little bit of explosive utility his own way, and really achieved nothing there.
Merc, though, will get a little bit better. He'll be able to find that pick and trade off on the Shaiko. Good free action to get that C4 shot out by him, but Merc just too quick of the draw that time around. Lems inside a bar now, just waiting for a call, some information, some pressure from the rest of his side to make that play in. Over a minute now, minute 55 left in this round, and Lems still lurking, still waiting. Bolo a good position up on rafters to try and burn time. The Zami gates continue, not Zami gates, there's a Rooney barriers keep building up in the back pocket. Lems is in sight. Okay, hello Alems, bye-bye Geo, he's in sight and this is going to be the trigger for execution. He'll find a second one now, he'll look for a third and he gets it! Alems on a rampage and TSM caught flat-footed. They know what players inside of Oil Pit and that is surely all she wrote. Bolo against 3 and he's going to get caught out by Rafal, just waiting for him to ascend. And that is, well, how to counter that SSG roam, that's how.
Just straight to sight. I'm pretty sure the comms there for TSM. Look, they're on sight. There's Alems. Peeks in through from Church, gets one, gets the player on dirt, pushes into blue, gets him as well, and Alems is able to clutch it out. That shot from Merc was absolutely fantastic. But look at Alems. This is the one, and that is what Nook is so good at.
Nook, when you speak to players across all levels of competitive, is the most annoying operator. It is a factor that is difficult to control because you can't hear her, you can't see her on your cameras if the player of Nook is effective with that gadget, and can just pop up and be in places you don't expect. Who expects LMs to be on site right then? Guess what? Not TSM. And we see BDS get that very first round. We'll see a site rotation as well from TSM going up to Gym Bedroom now. They'll extend themselves in CC and Cash. That's no surprise to what this setup will be. But BDS once again starting off fantastically on their map choice this time.
And that was just really good game sense as well, though, from BDS. You know that you killed a player in Adam, then you got refragged from there as well. You could see the Azamis up on top of, you know, Garage. So realistically, there's only 2 players on site. One of them probably playing around Church, one of them playing around Dirt, and Alems took full advantage of it.
Opportunistic. You've got to be at this level of competitive play. Alems saw a chance, he took it. Absolutely fantastic. Benefited completely from it. BDS get the round. Well, we see a similar story. Shaiko once again on that Finka will try and make that entry play work. Will drone himself inside of Stock and Lounge. Playing independently from the team just a little bit right now, so no one's hot droning for him. He's not following a drone, he's trying to do all the work himself. And when you have a player as talented as Shaiko, you might want drones to go ahead of him to get him all that information. But he is that talented, he can probably do it himself as well. BD8 will get this wall open. That will make it very awkward to rotate around inside of construction. And those slowly but surely sort of opening up these key positions. And I don't think we're going to even contest that roam clear inside of CC.
And you touched on the drones as well. Only 2 of 10 have been taken out of this one already. And there's a minute gone in the stage. And now BDS are going to get putting in that work. As you can see, multiple players all droning things out. Now, Shaiko is the only player, apart from Rinshiro, who just came off the drone, who is actually not doing some intel work on site. And there is that, the barrier, the laser gates, that is just holding out the push into logistics, but that's another one that's pretty easy to clear, especially when you've got Sophia.
So they've turned that away, giving themselves that ease of use to get some utility center and try and clear anyone inside of Logi. The option to not clear CC and Cash now leaves them vulnerable to this window. So they have to be cautious and watch that, as Gio will be very, very keen to take that fight. Not in a close position to do so, but Lems, once again, on a little bit of a crouch walk. He will find the electric wall down below, so that means, guess what? Jacuzzi wall is free, and he maybe might consider walking up main stairs or sending in some depth charge nades to cause some chaos. Look at that Kaid, just lurking, just waiting on main stairs to try and catch anyone napping.
But with the wall open and with Alems below, there is the opportunity to make that push. But now Gio will rotate back to site, but which direction will he go? Rafal gets the opener with 55 seconds on the clock, and Alems is going to get slammed by Gio as Pojo pulls one as well. Brede pushing into the site, though, aggressively up against that bathroom wall, looking in towards Jim. And now things slow down once more. Shaiko pre-firing the stairs. Gio gets Ren. Bolo is going to get Brede. And Shaiko finds himself in a 1v4, but we've been here before.
He's getting one there. That's Bolo, the first one off the board. I'm beginning to believe he might just be able to do it. With 20 seconds, he can get himself a top of HP if he so needs or requires. But Achieved gets it done, shuts it down, ties us up. 1 round apiece.
1 round apiece and better from TSM, and just able to get kills in bunches. It's not giving those attackers much time to change up their attack whenever they lose players. But this is a very interesting game that we have going on, because that first round win was really clinical.
It was. I mean, when we saw BDS do that, they were opportunistic, right? They saw the strategy, they saw their own presence, they knew exactly what they needed to do. That's why LMs was on the Nook, for example. They knew, okay, they're going for this 2-1-2, what I call it, SSG, what everyone else will know it as, roam presence. Alem just walked it. We all know that's vulnerable to a rush, and it wasn't a rush necessarily, but Alem decided to be the X factor of that round. TSM that time didn't give BDS an inch. They kind of said, we're not letting you in the building, basically, was the story of that one. And so that stems from the decision to not have any pressure inside a garage, inside a CC. They let TSM have essentially control of the entire top floor and have the work around it. They tried to do it a while, taking no control and just going direct to site. Didn't work out. TSM got themselves in it, and I do think it's going to be a far closer affair than what we saw at Theme Park.
It will be, but they have taken all the pieces again for that roam. Oryx and Castle are in place. Bolo taking Azami once more. Last time Bolo played up on top of Raptors and got pretty bored. No push whatsoever came from TSM from that direction. But Bolo this time inside bedroom, waiting for the spawn peek, hoping one of those BDS heads will peek. Merc is spawn peeking as well. Never mind letting them in. They're not even going to let them near the building, as the Lems will be the first to fall. 2 spawn peeks, 1 successful, and BDS playing from a man down.
That's what they need to do. This is what TSM need to do. They need to get in the face of BDS right now. This map tends to lead attacker favored, so oh, Shaiko! What a read to Pojo, shuts it down, finds a trade, and achieved. You'll burn a C4 to retreat. You don't want to brawl with Shaiko. Thinking he might have rotated deep inside of blue already. He will just wait, but Shaiko will be just as patient as he will hold on to blue stairs and wait and be patient, as he knows he's got everyone working the rest of his team around to put pressure and perhaps move someone into his line of sight.
He's got a massive cutoff. He is holding such a vital cutoff in this map. Bolo takes a lot of gunfire this time around, as Shaiko still holding this position. Rafal gets Merc. Shaiko will trade it out with Bolo as both fall, but it is now a 3v2, and Brede is putting that case on the floor, and he will be shouting percentages. Time will 1% ensure the win percentage for BDS is going up, as achieved will fall. It's down to Geo, but there's Rafal, and that is another round win for BDS as they take a 2-1 lead.
That was, I think, clinical. Another word way to describe it. We said the first round was clinical. That one was absolutely another use of that phrase. They are really sharp here on Clubhouse. It's their map choice after all, not too surprised, and they are loving life on the attacking side. BDS just look to have the number of TSM right now. TSM really struggling, and Pojo caught out a misstep, perhaps just a little bit of a rustle or a rumble of sound, and that was enough to send him back to observation when he has to go worry about Shaiko.
And one of the things that I love looking into with it is rounds where you lose the opening pick, but you bounce back and win the round. TSM did that there now. It was a brilliant opening pick from Merc, but TSM didn't even look phased. Shaiko, you know, at times we see him going hunting kills, but he held that cutoff. He got 2 kills. He took out Pojo, who swung from blue, and then he traded back with Bolo. He did his job.
I mean, Shaiko he knows how good he is. Always think you're at this position, but he's also very good at working around the team. He's a key aspect of that roster, and so the team need him to do something. Guess what? He's going to do it. He won't go hunting for those kills, even though I'm pretty sure he wants that MVP of the entire competition. Who wouldn't, after all? So, as we get ready to dive straight back into this one, TSM need to find momentum. They cannot let BDS run away with this one once again. We saw how they couldn't recover the second half at all when we were on Theme Park. BDS were 5-1 up. They just couldn't get themselves back in. So damage limitation might be a decision again. You cannot get out of touching distance of BDS to TSM. Try and trade one back, get yourselves level again, and work from there.
And the only saving grace, I think, for TSM is even if they do go down 2-0, there is the opportunity to go through the lower bracket. This isn't last chance saloon just yet, but the winner of this game gets the rest of the day off, and we know how vitally important that can be to do your prep, because you're just going to sit back, put the feet up, and watch those lower bracket games and do your prep work.
Exactly, more time to book some scrims as well, get something done, dry runs, anything. So really, it seems, I mean, there's a lot running in this in terms of competition play, right? Seeing these teams at work, the meetings, the prep work, the voluntary, they are all hyper fixated on getting the best performance possible. TSM, even with Pojo in, still doing that, putting in the work. One thing I will say about this setup, I don't like this setup, as I don't think Bolo likes Ranchero too much, as he just sends it on out the window and shuts him down. I don't like these armor barriers on the castle or on the barrages like that, because if you send the nade directly on towards it, you throw your nade not over but directly at that keeper barrier, guess what? The ADS doesn't catch it. Merkur will catch your fall, find that in BDS very early, putting themselves in 5v3 disadvantage.
The only saving grace is they do have 2 hard breach, so the job's still possible, but I agree with you 100%. There's still 3 nades in the hands of BDS, so work still to be done by Merc. Shaiko, did he just miss drone?
I believe he did. I believe he has no idea. Lems will get 1, however, and Gio in a very good position to be an agent of chaos. Find some success if he's given the chance to do so. Lems cautiously approaching, trying to get control, whatever he can do. It won't be an easy tasking. It'll be very, very difficult for him to do so. But BDS right now in problem-solving mode, trying to figure out what changes to do, how to make this work. They will get that wall open. It's the first check on this tick list. With a minute 30 left to go. They're in a good position. If they can find that pick to get themselves level, this round opens up massively.
And Merc is a sneeze away from falling, as Shaiko will get rid of even more utility and begin droning. BDS doing the exact same, because BDS now being held out as the first smoke canister has been used with 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock. Alem's just peeking an inch above the head, pre-frying the window, but they desperately want 1 pick in this situation because all 3 of these players playing solely focused on the breach, and Alems gets that kill. That should open it up, but there's the smoke that will buy some time for TSM.
That buys them 10 seconds, but guess what? Shaiko is chomping at the bit. He's lapping at the gates. He wants in, but Alems on the flank inside of Garage. If he can catch anyone here, if anyone is so daring to go for a rotation, he might be able to find them. But Shaiko, he will take an invitation, but no, he'll back away. He's cautious. He doesn't want to push in so carelessly. Alems now has control of Raptors. He has himself an avenue of entryway as well, shooting through that wall with his hammer, and it's time to go for BDS. They cannot wait too much longer. A nade gets sent in, but Shaiko will find one to achieve. The nade goes deep, and it finds it. BDS collapse, and TSM crumble upon the pressure. Another round and a recovery effort this time for BDS. They lost 2 players at the beginning of that round, and they still got it done.
And when they were all up around that breach, they needed that 1 kill on the Merc in the Garage. And the minute that kill was gotten, they rotated back, took Garage control. And when you have players in those positions in a 3v3, that is an attacker favorite situation, especially when there was only 1 smoke canister left.
With 1 canister left, you only die 10 seconds. You can't keep BDS waiting. They want in, and I'm pretty sure Shaiko would have went through that smoke anyway if he needed to get the job done. So, 3-1, your scoreline. The narrative of this one is TSM cannot let BDS get daylight between them. They need to stay in touching this, and they need to keep the pressure on. BDS in complete control. 3v5, the beginning of that round with the Bolo spawn peak, the fighting Raptors. And guess what? Didn't face them. They solved the problems as they presented. Were talented enough to get the picks they needed. TSM had just no answer to that final last gasp execution. BDS absolutely another level right now.
And they've been pretty much doing this without Ranchero. He's gone down twice to spawn peaks in this one already. So the 4 men of BDS came, and BDS, that 1 kill was a vital one that allowed them to complete that execute. And as we look, this is now, if BDS win this round and they go 4-1 up, this script could be sent off to the directors to be completed and filed through, because as of right now, BDS looks so good, and they're looking to maybe catch the best EU team here in Wild.
A nice little dig there. Of course, Wild doing EU proud as well. I'm not going to pick favorites, but Alems will pick Bolo's brain, and he'll remove him from this round early. BDS opening pick once again. TSM need to quell the fire quickly. BDS aren't a team that will pounce too quickly, but everyone feels a little bit pressured now. You lost a player, and this hold inside CC begins to waver just a little bit. Merc plays aggressive around these windows, trying to fight something back, trying to get in. Gio will look to brawl around Raptors, but his time might be limited. He's going to have to be forced for a retreat, but Shaiko will get one, the Merc. Gio takes a beating as well as Pojo. Everything looks to be coming up BDS, but who will stand tall for TSM if anyone can clutch it up?
Bolo overrated. Shaiko is just absolutely slamming this one out as Team BDS look to take a 4-1 lead, but there's still presence inside cash. Pojo's holding one angle. Lems, who has gotten vital picks in this one so far, 8 and 2. The KD sits at 4, but he is hunting for more as he pushes up towards the door, pre-firing. Minute and 15 left on the clock, which is still an eternity for BDS.
They have so much time to work with. They have all the freedom they need. And guess what? They shut down Gio. They have this entire side of the map. Gio, you should run away. He's going to try and stand tall and take the fight, but 3 bodies and a nade surely will arrive to clear him, and there it is. But he's just creeped himself close enough. Surprise factor and a second nade as well. He will catch one. Napping it will be BDS, but there's a trade. Rafal will find it. Pojo gets the Lems, and now it's Shaiko and DBNO. There's a chance. But will they finish him? Nope. He gets himself back up with that nano boost. But Pojo out the window he goes. He'll get traded. And now it's all down to Achieved alone against 2. Ranchero and Rafal. He's inside of Logi. Do they know? They do now. Rafal shuts it down. BDS get themselves even further away from TSM.
It's just they're streaking ahead now. They're getting such a commanding lead that it looks very difficult for TSM. Bolo needs to start stepping up. He's one of the best players in the world for a reason. I've grown up watching this guy. Bolo to me is an idol of mine, but he's not really got the kills on the board with it. And this has been, so far, the Alems and Shaiko show.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
I mean, these 2 players have stood so tall. This is the best we've seen from BDS in a long time. If we look at how the performance inside of EUL was, it's not been great. This is a little bit of a revitalized roster. Again, TSM, not again another team, another storyline going in this one. I think equal match, I think, in terms of overall performance in their national areas. BDS are not phased by anything TSM are doing right now and look in complete control. The easy asterisk to this situation is Pojo is in for Snake, of course. We can't really, like, that's something we have to look at. That is a factor going into this round, of course. But the way BDS are playing,
5 seconds to go.
they might be able to beat anyone here this weekend.
This is the BDS that
Attackers are moving out
we've
to
been
locate a
missing
bomb
for a
and
long
defuse
time in EUL. It really is. And the fact that they're turning up at LAN is a good sign, because at the end of the day, there's still events to play over the course of this competitive year. And BDS will want to bounce back. Maybe not making it to the major, what could actually do them some favors in the long run and allow them to really work on what was going wrong.
I mean, they get a little bit of an extra break. Of course, they're here playing in G8, and then after this, they'll have some time to rest and recover between stages, so they can, you know, rework the strat, but figure things out, try and solve any internal issues that might be lingering from the stage. Bolo might want to go out this window. He's thinking about it. He really wants to. But eventually, they're going to work at clearing this wall, getting it open, and using that as an avenue to start pushing and getting that initial map control. Bolo will stand in the way. And they're lined up through that window. I saw you get excited there, but no. Bolo won't be able to quick enough on the draw. Of course, he wouldn't know he was there. Had no information. He'll fall back. But we see that LMG, I hear it fire off, and Achieved takes a beating, and BDS will find Merc. Shaiko will find Achieved, and will BDS get one? More often follow. Alems gets Gio. Bolo will try and claw it back. He'll get a pick to Shaiko, but it's all but over. Ranchero finds him, and now it's all down to one player, Pojo, but he won't last long. BDS absolutely clear right now. No answers from TSM.
5-1 on attack. They just need 2 rounds out of 6 to go ahead and get this win with it.
This is the exact same story on Theme Park. 5-1 both times on their opening side, and a little bit different now on the attack. That's how the map tends to lean, but TSM had no answer. Absolutely nothing. This is huge for BDS right now. 2 more rounds. Can they close it out? Can TSM dig deep once again, or try and dig deep once again, and get themselves back in this one? It's a long road to 5 rounds. They need to get 4 more to get themselves level.
They haven't even taken time out. If they lose this one, they're in a horrible situation to be in. Team BDS, the 1 round away from match point and series point as they move on to defense. Now, every time that they won this basement, they just went, you know what, the fastest way to anywhere is a straight line as they push directly to site. Are TSM going to take something out of that book? or will the members of BDS be able to clutch out their first round on defense?
Well, round 7, I often refer to this as one of the most influential rounds inside of a matchup because it is that transition between attack and defense. It changes it. These are two different games. You know, they play differently. There's different things you need to prioritize, even different roles for certain teams. Players can swap around on that. If BDS can get this off to a cracking start and put themselves on match point in the very first defensive round, you gotta look at TSM and go, is there a reply? Is there an answer there? For everyone who's a TSM fan, I'm sure you hope there's a reply, something, and I hope that you find it now on the attacking side, which again is favored in Clubhouse's current state.
It is, and Bolo's going to get to work straight away and open up that wall with that jacuzzi wall. Just gives them another way to push in the site, and there's nobody there to greet him just yet, but the door has been left open. 2 minutes to play for both these sides. Looking at those defenders, they got 4 of them playing down outside side, so not very much of a roam presence whatsoever. But there is a roam presence that's called the ghost roam, where those attackers will clear out the top floor looking to find that roamer, but he's just not there.
You could use the mute jammer instead of choke as a mission we saw achieve that with that one. But as we're going to go through this, it is what you said. It is a little bit of a ghost storm. There's no one actually here from BDS, and TSM do need to clear it. They don't know the information. Those mute jammers have slowed them down, and they'll waste vital seconds. But they've cleared it, they've identified, okay, no one's there anymore. Now they'll start moving and getting the motions rolling to get the execution at least closer to go time. Minute 25 left to work in this round. They'll start the vertical positions on top of main stairs, trying to clear anyone out from that position. But Riyadh has a C4 primed and ready, and he's just waiting for the call. No Valkyrie cameras in play this time, of course. However, I think these players have enough game sense to time it perfectly.
Well, the C4 has been popped, and it is going to get wasted, and Achieved is going to waste no time whatsoever. And pushing inside, looking at the attacker side, they've still got plenty of utility, but with it, look, Merc is already down bottom main, and he picks up the kill on Dual M's, and there is a downed player as well.
So in a technical 3, well, now actually an official 5 versus 4, BDS still inside of dirt with that shotgun, trying to lock down that lane. It looks right now that TSM are going to go for that execution from the kitchen hatch. Merc will play a pivotal role in trying to stop that cross, as well as anyone who's daring at the push down dirt. But TSM have 30 seconds to make it work. Can BDS close this one out? They've got smoke canisters in their back pocket as well, and all the guns are going to work, but the drop is there. Pojo's already in sight. Shaiko will get one the bolo. He'll find a second with the Geo. Rafal pops off. Everything in favor of BDS except the fact Pojo gets the case down. He'll try and brawl his way, but he's in no man's land. Achieved is there for cover, but he will be slain. All down to Achieved. In a 1 versus 2, he knows one player's coming up to try and pressure him, but don't get hyper fixated. You need information. He'll try to deny the plant, but no! Shaiko 3 in the round and the defuse. BDS match, map, and series point.
Wow. Again, Shaiko, whenever they need him, he steps up, and a little bit of a help coming in from Rafal. They win another round, and they are just 1 round away from that semi-final. And if my math isn't wrong, well, that's 1 round away from another 100K on the prize pool.
I mean, this is massive for this team. Every stage you get further, of course, your earnings are higher, and every team, every org loves that as well. Shaiko, what a performance though, 3 in the round and the counter defuse as well. TSM, now forced to be flawless. No mistakes required, no mistakes allowed if you want to continue your run. Otherwise, the lower bracket is waiting. And when you go to that lower bracket, when you lose that extra life you have, things get a little bit more tense. Things get a little bit scarier for it. Everything means a little bit more, but BDS, look at that scoreline. EU on top, am I right? 6-1 against TSM. EU still undefeated in this competition. And if TSM don't find a reply soon, that's going to continue.
I am all for it. We've been waiting a long time for EU to get on top of NA teams, and BDS and Wild are looking to just carry that torch. We are ready. This is match point BDS, and we are going up to Gym Bedroom. Lems is going to play in secret just to catch out any of those attackers, and that's the joy of this map, but because there's multiple ways to rotate from one point to another.
I mean, there's at least 2. Perhaps even 3. But you can actually rotate your way around. It is not as linear as other maps. The reason that teams are, why please don't say, it is an older map. Lots of teams understand it very, very well, so those rotations are harder to make because people understand the flow and the rhythm of this map very, very well. So TSM right now, it is in the focus up, play your game, lock in, and get the job done. You cannot make a mistake. A single opening death here is essentially an absolute catastrophe. Alam's on her own down in the basement. No one's going to know about him for a very long time. We're going to try and clear this upstairs, try and get as much information as possible. But so far, slow, cautious, and a little bit of scared to losing from TSM.
And it is just so hard for TSM. 5 rounds back-to-back is what they require. Just, of course, overtime. The job wouldn't even be done then. But one job that is done, they've got the jacuzzi wall open. Now you can flip, go around on the other side. It's so important when you attack this site that you go from multiple angles. Alem's still playing down in basement. When will he decide that the time is now to push back on up? Shaiko playing in and around site. He will get the information that construction wall has now been opened too. So a lot of work being put into TSM, lots of prep work.
It's a lot of posturing for TSM right now. They've got the wall open, they're slowly getting map control, but the keyword there is slowly. It's a minute 15 left. They have a lot of positions open, they have no opening picks. BDS are a little bit compressed right now and feeling uncomfortable, and that nade's going to make Ranchero very uncomfortable as well. And that C4 will send Achieved all the way back to observation. Pojo will get aggressive and find one. Shaiko gets another one, but oh, here comes TSM! Here comes Pojo! Finding 3, leaving it all down to Alems to close this map out right here, right now. SMG11 primed and ready, decides it's time for the shotgun. He's going brawling. Alems! Are you kidding me? BDS take Clubhouse. They take the series. TSM to the lower bracket you go.
BDS are back, and they have done it in absolutely fantastic form. Big 2-0 win over NSA. World champs sent down to that lower bracket.
Shaiko, Alems, that's the story of map 2. Take a bow. Take a bow. I'm on the desk. I don't envy them when they have to make the decision. Who's going to be the MVP of this series? It's going to be one of those 2. But what a play from Alems right there. What a play from Pojo as well to get themselves in that position. Pojo found 3 on that hard breach entry in the site. Case went down as well. But Alems, too much of a clutch factor, and BDS get victory 2-0 against TSM. They move forward to a semi-final tomorrow, but absolutely fantastic from it, and they really didn't look challenged at all by TSM.
They really didn't, and the problem for TSM is they don't even have a lot of time to fix it. Maybe getting 2-0 will help them a little bit because it buys them an extra hour, but what can you do in that extra hour? You're playing one more game later tonight, and if you lose that best of 3, well, you are packing your bags and you are going home, and it ain't even to Berlin.
Pressure begins to build now for TSM. Okay, you don't have Snake in today. That's a big blow to the team already. Pojo, though, did prove his worth. Very capable in that more support-like role. But you now don't have time to prep. You have to play in the best of 3 today. This is where you get a little bit worried for this team because they looked a little bit muted against BDS. BDS provided so many problems, and TSM could never really get into the game.
They really couldn't, but we're going to just get ready to throw it back to the stage for them to have an interview with the winning team. We'll see you guys in a few.
Welcome back to the main stage. I'm joined by Alems of BDS. Congratulations on the win. Absolutely incredible. A dominant performance so far in this competition. So I just wanted to ask you how you and your team were feeling before you came into this competition, and did you have this kind of expectations on your shoulders?
To be honest, before coming here, we were feeling a bit sad because of the European season. We were very disappointed about it. But when we come here in Riyadh, we were like, okay, it's like a mental reset. We will try to do everything in this tournament, and we are feeling good. Everyone is like playing crazy, so it's feeling good.
فريق BDS قدروا يفوزون فوز جدا قوي في المباراه هذه، وكنا نسالهم هل الاكسبكتيشنز اللي كانت عليكم اثرت في ادائكم؟ هل انتم قدرتوا انكم تعدلونها؟ وكان جوابه انه صراحه احنا جايين للرياض وكنا شوي محبطين بشكل كبير صراحه بسبه اللي صار في الموسم الاوروبي في ريمبو 6 سيج، ولانهم ما كان مستواهم ابدا كويس. فجينا احنا قلنا خلينا نسوي منتل ريست، خلينا نرجع من جديد من الصفر ونحاول نشوف نسوي شيء كويس، وفعلا هذا اللي قاعدين يسوونه الان، خصوصا بعد فوزهم الدوميننت مره ضد فريق TSM.
Well, the Gamers8 stage is no, it's no different to having, like, there's so many upsets here. There's so many reverse sweeps that happen on this very stage. Now, regarding keeping your team synergy and your skill level as high as possible, what have you guys been practicing leading up to this tournament?
I think we practiced a lot on the map pool. Like, we practiced a lot of new maps that we are not used to play usually. And we practiced a lot on the communication. So to be able to communicate, to call things, because this is like the game is right now is like everyone needs to call things, like to be able to step it up on the IGL things, I would say. And yeah, we tried this, and now I mean it seems to work for now, so we are kind of happy, very happy.
سألنا اللاعب عن التدريبات اللي هم مروا فيها قبل ما يبدون في البطولة، وكان التركيز على ايش التدريبات اللي سويتوها قبل ما تبدأ البطولة هذه بالذات كبطولة عالمية، يعني يحتاج لها تدريبات كثيرة طبعا. فكان الجواب انه اكثر شيء ركزنا عليه هو الماب بول اللي احنا اصلا ما احنا مرة كويسين فيه، فحاولنا نتدرب على مابات اكثر ونجهز لها بشكل افضل. زيادة على كذا الميتا حاليا في اللعبة تتركز على الكوميونيكيشن بشكل جدا عالي، والاي جي ال عليه ضغط كبير، فكان التركيز على انه الاي جي ال يحسن الكوميونيكيشن حقه، كل الفريق يحسن الكوميونيكيشن حقه والكول اوت، وزيادة على كذا انهم يركزون على الماب بول اكثر.
Well, you can breathe easy now. You've made it through to the semi-finals tomorrow, so it must be a nice weight off your shoulders. I had a question prepared for you, right? Because I watched map 1 and I thought, what must it be like to play alongside a laser beam like Shaiko, okay? And then I watched map 2 and I saw you playing absolutely out of your socks. You've mentioned that you guys are playing crazy here. Is there a particular reason?
No, I don't think. I think we were just happy to be here in Riyadh, be together. I mean, friendship is very important in our team. Be together is like kind of strength. And yeah, that's it.
ادائهم في الجيم الاول والجيم الثاني ايضا، او الماب الاول والثاني كان جدا ممتاز، وكان بالعكس في بعض اللاعبين مبدعين في الماب الاول اكثر من الماب الثاني، والعكس ايضا في الماب الثاني. فكان السؤال انه ايش الشيء اللي مخليكم تلعبون بهالمستوى العالي؟ فكان الجواب على انه ما في شيء معين صراحه، احنا جدا مبسوطين متواجدين هنا في الرياض. زياده على كذا الاخوه والصحبه اللي بيننا هي احد اهم نقاط القوه اللي معنا في الفريق، وكان تركيز على انه بس نحاول نكون يعني مبسوطين ان شفنا بعض، ونحاول ان ننبسط واحنا نلعب مع بعض، وهذا هو الشيء الاساسي اللي خلاهم يلعبون بشكل كويس.
Elms, thank you so much for joining us on stage for your post-match interview. Congratulations for making it through to the semi-finals. Everyone that's in the Gamers8 arena, come on, I want you to make some noise right now, okay? For BDS. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about, okay. We're going to be throwing over to a very quick break, but don't go anywhere because we're going to be back with our lower bracket finals. It's going to get dicey.
لا تبعدونا اعزائنا المشاهدين والحضور، راح ناخذ فاصل بسيط ونرجع لكم في اللور براكت فاينل اللي زي ما احنا عارفين الفائز منه بيكون هو اخر فريق يطلع الى البلاي اوفز في الجروب. فخلونا نشوف من اللي بيكون الفريق هذا على طول على الفاصل بعدين الاستديو التحليلي.